got a story to tell. I got 5 stories to tell. But I'm going to try to stay focused on this mess in particular. And Betty's wearing a red vest. That's because in my efforts, it's 100% wool. I'm not sure where it came from, and I'm not sure if it was felted before or after I received it. But I found it in a bag. Follow the bouncing ball. I found it in a bag that was in my truck. And that bag was full of wool pieces. This is the bag. I made it from wool. I made it sometime around between 2010 and 2014. So I made this bag as a backpack, and it actually used to be bigger than it is. It's pretty big. Okay, so it seems that over the years I have kept wool sweaters, wool fabrics, that because I wanted to store all the wool stuff together. Now, what I discovered in here were many things, and one being, I was so excited. I found 2 pieces of my wool blanket I didn't even remember having. So why was I even in my truck? Because I bartered. I bartered some work and for the toolbox. It was just too big and heavy, and I could not, if I can't maneuver it by myself at all, and I couldn't, then it's not something I need to have. And that left a big space in my truck, and now what I'm doing is trying to, the things that I had stored inside of my truck, I'm going through those. I found the 2 pieces of blanket, which made an entire blanket for the bed that I sleep on now. I didn't even remember having it. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, I remember how that got there. Bob and I drove up here in November of 2018. And I camped in my camper. He camped in his truck over there on that spot where the fence and the dog fencing is now. It was Thanksgiving. And we were up here for, I don't know, nearly a week. And it got all stormy. And so there's no going out in it. You can't enjoy being out in, like, you know, a 25-mile-an-hour cold wind. And so I was all hunkered down, and I made it so that my wool quilt fit the bed that I was on. Because it used to, when I originally made that blanket, which is now a curtain over my door at the tiny, when I made that blanket, I had at least a full-size bed I was covering. So now it's a blanket, and it covers my door, and I even made a curtain out of it. A little curtain. I guess we call that a balance. So I'm getting ready to do some handwork. That's what all this mess is. Because y'all might recognize this. I started this another time, and somebody asked me about it. Well, in that bag of wool was all of the little pieces from making, you know, bigger items. Okay, so the other part of that day, after I found that whole bag of stuff, was there was little pieces, which is what I wanted to make this quilt out of. And now what I need to do, I'm going to hand stitch these together, and then I'll take this piece and hook it to this piece, and this piece has to be hooked to this piece, And these two pieces that were triangles, I fit them in. And then I had this beautiful green piece to finish that out. So that evened up that edge. So on this side, this edge was finished with, it's like ribbing. Look what I found in the stash. Enough ribbing to finish up that whole edge so that it evens out. And see, I've still got these to put together. So these I will have to trim off. But that will even up this edge and this edge. And so I will have a really nice sized wool throw. And so what I'm trying to do now is put things back together again, have them labeled, get rid of, there's going to be a lot of purging in the coming weeks as springtime is fast approaching. So I'm going to let y'all go so you can get on with your busy day. And I want to point something out at the end of my videos. For those of you who have stuck with me this long. At the end of my video, I have started putting it, there's a recommended video that you can look at. And I have started putting up as a recommended video some of the videos that I have been watching and that I want to share with you. And it turns out all of this was because I wanted to know the truth. And when you really seek the truth, we know who the author of truth is. You're seeking him. And the more you know, the more you know about him. Yahweh, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh, a God. I love y'all.
Yeah. May the road rise to meet you and the sun kiss your face. May there always be a miracle waiting just to bless your day. Life won't always hand you roses. Don't let it get you down. Keep your eyes on what your goal is and your feet on solid ground. Take this with you where you go. You are love, love, love.